Ladies and gentlemen, Deborah Napolitano.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, legislators, and thank you all for being here for all of us today. And it's an important day to be here. My name is Deborah Napolitano, and I really want to thank you for the honor that I have to speak to you today. And I have been in Department of Mental Health Services for over 20 years, and I was 19 years old when I became a receiver of DMH. I was homeless at the time. At age 19, I was living in the Turning Point shelter in Framingham. I walked from Turning Point. My mother lived in Natick, and I walked to her house that day. And I was desperate for my mother's love and care. And I walked, and I demanded her to take care of me in her house. And she refused. But I would not leave, and far from receiving the care that I so desperately craved, we ended up in such a fight that the police were called, and I was admitted to Westboro State Hospital from Natick Courthouse. And I ended up it was a 10-day observation stay, and I ended up being there for 3 months. As I was there, and I remember it as it was yesterday, it was November 2nd, 1988, and sorry, I'm really nervous. I'm going to breathe. I experienced extreme depression when I was there. I wouldn't even go out of my room at Westboro State Hospital to cross the room to go to the bathroom. I was really scared to be there. And I was also in 4-point restraints when I was there. I would harm myself a lot to get in 4 points with self-harm behaviors. And they were going to commit me for long-term commitment, and until I was willing to do the rules and the day structure, I was going to get committed. It was at that point when they threatened me with commitment that I was willing to do anything for my own recovery and to get out of the hospital. And I was on the admissions unit at that time. For the next 4 years, from 1988 to 1992, I was in hospitalizations for 4 years. I started out with major depression was my diagnosis. Later on, I became a bipolar. I have bipolar today. I take medication for that illness. My case manager also helped me on my road of my recovery at that time. With the services that DMH provided, I was able to go to college and also work in the community. I was at Alexander Street through Advocates. My house manager, my first time there was here, Linda. Really good to see you. Good to see you too. My DMH worker and the services I was provided at that time helped me to get a job in the community and helped me to also go to college at that time. I was early in my 20s. I was like 23 in that early 20s period, and it was a great opportunity for me to see that I could recover from my mental illness and that I didn't have to get stigmatized, and the people in my life, especially DMH case management, had that conversation with me to get the resources out in the community that I needed. They also saw through my milestones in my life, which was the births of my children, Christina, Sean, and Patrick. They're 18, 15, and 13 right now. And they have definitely seen me with my mental illness in extreme highs and extreme lows. I also got a job at a nonprofit organization. I was also able to work with DMH closely, making sure the IEPs at that time were IAPs, which were totally different back then, in the 90s and then in the 2000s. As I said, the support from DMH was also coming from a conversation with my DMH worker. I had 3 case managers in that time frame. I now have a 4th case manager, and the 2 people that I had before have retired. One of the case managers did come to a wedding of mine, and it was really good that I was supported that way. I will say also that DMH also helped me get the resources out in the community, which I am able to use today in my job that I am a peer support worker at the Bridge of Central Mass. I love it. In the past year or so, I've had to go into hospitalizations, and I've had to utilize respite services. I've also had to utilize a clubhouse called Employment Options out in the Marlboro area, where I was able to utilize their job search and their resume and their interviewing tactics that I was able to utilize. And also, I did help them last year with their family festival in the fall to do some fundraising for them as well. These services are welcomed to consumers from their DMH worker and other resources out in the community. I am grateful that as I stayed at respite last summer, I was there for a week, and a peer support worker came to me and she shared her story and she shared her experience and her life experience, and I was so hopeful and so intrigued by what she had and what she was doing with her life and her life experience that I wanted to do exactly what she was doing. And my hope and my goal for the next 7 months was to get a job in peer specialist outreach program. And I was on a mission to find a job in an organization that I could share my experience and utilize my gifts and my talents in that way. I might be going off the speech a little bit, but I'm sorry. But I know that I'm speaking honestly, and it's coming from the heart. And my passion is to really help peers and people that are in the community services that we serve and that receive services have a voice and are able to get what they need in their life and are able to go out and get the community resources that they are able to live a healthy recovery lifestyle for themselves. And I know that while I'm doing this job as a peer outreach counselor at the Bridge, I have to meet the consumer where they're at, and I have to have that conversation and let them know the resources that are out there to help them get to where they need to be and where they want to be, you know. So when I went to the Bridge and I interviewed, it took a 6-week to 7-week process for me to get hired. I'm grateful for that. As I grow in my new job with this wonderful agency, I am learning about the recovery for each person we serve and see that they each have their own paths to recovery that they can develop. I also have the great opportunity to be on the site board at the Westboro DMH office, which is a wonderful opportunity where I'm able to share my voice and to also help others to share theirs as well. I noticed that when I was on a site board meeting that I helped, in that process one day, and it was awesome. I feel, given my experiences, I have a lot to offer there and can represent the voice of recovery. I hope that the more than 20 years of experience that I have with my recovery will be beneficial to the people I work with, and I am confident that so much more lies ahead as I continue my own recovery, and I'm able to help others to do that. And I thank you all so much.